Most people looking at Courtney in 2026 see a fiercely independent rock powerhouse who has completely dismantled the traditional music industry. They see the sold-out underground rock shows, the gritty, unpolished vocals, and the fearless attitude of an artist who calls all her own shots. But what the cameras and the media never capture is the impenetrable human shield that made this incredible evolution possible in the first place. While millions watched her completely dominate television screens as a shy 13-year-old, almost no one saw the intense, behind-the-scenes war her family continuously waged to protect her. The untold story of the family isn't just a tale of supportive parents. It is an absolute masterclass in fighting off the most predatory elements of the modern entertainment business. Long before the golden confetti rained down in Los Angeles, there lived a remarkably quiet life in a small village in County Durham, England. Her parents were raising a painfully shy girl who could barely look strangers in the eye, let alone command a massive international stage. When they first encouraged her to pursue singing, it wasn't about chasing fame or fortune. It was a desperate, loving attempt to help their daughter find her voice and build a shred of self-confidence. They scraped together whatever they could to support her local gigs and vocal lessons, completely unaware that they were sitting on a musical powder keg. They thought they were just a childhood hobby, trying to bring their quiet daughter out of her shell. But the reality of what was rapidly coming would completely turn their quiet, normal existence upside down in a matter of seconds. The exact moment Courtney's television audition went globally viral, the entire family was thrust into an absolute, uncontrollable avalanche of media chaos. Practically overnight, their ordinary, quiet household was heavily bombarded by aggressive talent scouts, intrusive tabloid journalists, and fast-talking corporate executives promising them the absolute world. And the terrifying, unglamorous reality of child stardom set in immediately. They watched in real time as the notoriously ruthless music industry tried to sink its claws into their teenage daughter, viewing her not as a growing human being, but as a highly lucrative, heavily exploitable financial asset. Instead of letting the flashing Hollywood lights and massive contract offers blind them, her parents instantly transformed from everyday caretakers into fierce, uncompromising bodyguards. They quickly realized that the people promising to make their daughter a superstar were often the exact same people who would happily discard her the second she stopped being profitable. Every single phone call, every proposed television appearance, and every management contract had to go through a heavily fortified parental firewall. They actively refused to let their young daughter be swept away by the intoxicating illusion of instant celebrity, choosing instead to remain intensely skeptical of every single adult who suddenly wanted a piece of her immense talent. This dramatic shift from a quiet village life to operating as a high-stakes crisis management team was a massive, unprecedented shock to their daily system. But holding the defensive line against powerful, highly connected Hollywood gatekeepers came with a massive, hidden cost that the public never saw. Behind the flashing cameras and the viral clips, the personal, financial, and emotional sacrifices the family made were absolutely staggering. Supporting a rapidly rising international star meant enduring endless transatlantic flights, living out of sterile hotel rooms, and navigating grueling promotional schedules that completely disrupted their normal, everyday way of life. Industry have long circulated about the sheer amount of personal and financial risk and willingly took on. Dedicating practically every waking second to Courtney was never, ever left alone in a room with opportunistic talent managers. They essentially had to hit the pause button on their own lives and careers to meticulously navigate highly complex legal contracts and aggressive public relations teams. They carried a crushing, invisible weight of immense anxiety, absorbing all the industry toxicity to keep the massive stress completely off their young daughter's shoulders. The family effectively became a self-contained logistical operation, handling intense travel logistics, managing intense media scrutiny, and constantly vetting every single person who tried to enter her inner circle. The sheer exhaustion of constantly playing against a multi-billion-dollar entertainment machine is enough to break even the strongest relationships, yet they remained an entirely united front. The financial strain of fronting these massive initial costs and protecting her legal rights was a monumental burden that they carried in total silence. Yet, the severe financial pressure was absolutely nothing compared to the intense, high-stakes battles they were actively fighting inside the corporate boardrooms. As Courtney's global fame skyrocketed, powerful music executives allegedly began pushing incredibly hard to drastically change her unique, eccentric image. Entertainment insiders claim there was immense, relentless pressure from the very top of the corporate ladder to smooth out her gritty, raspy vocals, change her highly individualistic wardrobe, and heavily mold her into a safe, highly marketable, mainstream pop star. This precise moment is exactly where most child stars are tragically forced to sell out, but the family completely and utterly refused to back down. They fiercely defended her artistic weirdness, repeatedly clashing with industry heavyweights who aggressively demanded she conform to the standard, highly profitable commercial formula, and made it absolutely, unequivocally clear that their daughter's authenticity and artistic integrity were not up for negotiation, regardless of how many millions of dollars were heavily dangled in front of them. They rejected the manufactured pop star blueprint, actively preventing producers from heavily auto-tuning her voice or writing shallow, radio-friendly hits that didn't match her old soul. This intense level of parental pushback is incredibly rare in the modern music business, where compliance is usually strictly demanded in exchange for mainstream exposure. By constantly playing the absolute hardest of hardball with seasoned industry veterans, the parents effectively shielded her raw talent from being watered down for mass consumption. And while they were fighting this massive corporate war in Los Angeles, they were simultaneously fighting a deeply personal, heartbreaking battle back at home. While Courtney was busy performing for millions of screaming fans on international television, her parents faced the incredibly difficult, emotionally taxing task of maintaining a completely normal life for her siblings. Growing up in the massive, all-consuming shadow of a global child prodigy is a uniquely isolating and highly challenging experience, and the family worked relentlessly to ensure her brother and sister never, ever felt left behind, and desperately tried to keep their household firmly grounded in reality, strictly enforcing regular daily chores and maintaining normal family dinners amidst the absolute madness of international touring schedules. They actively and aggressively shielded their other children from the highly toxic glare of the celebrity spotlight. That sudden fame didn't completely fracture their tight-knit family dynamic. This delicate, highly complex balancing act was absolutely crucial. It kept Courtney firmly rooted in reality, constantly reminding her that she was fiercely loved for exactly who she was as a person, not just for how well she could sing on a stage. By refusing to let the entire family identity be completely swallowed up by one child's massive career, they successfully avoided the tragic dysfunction that plagues so many famous households. They created a safe, entirely normal sanctuary where Courtney could step away from the microphones and just be a regular teenager dealing with regular teenage problems alongside her siblings. But the ultimate, deeply profound for this intense, unwavering family loyalty wouldn't be fully revealed to the public until many years later. Looking closely at Courtney's massive, highly successful resurgence in 2026, her family's incredibly difficult early sacrifices have clearly culminated in the ultimate industry power move. Today, the 21-year-old operates entirely outside the highly restrictive traditional label system, running her own completely self-managed, fiercely independent rock empire. This exceptionally rare level of artistic sovereignty is a direct, undeniable result of her parents strictly refusing to sign away her soul when she was just a vulnerable, highly impressionable teenager. They essentially bought her the crucial time and the vital freedom she desperately needed to mature, figure out her own unique sound, and eventually fire the corporate middlemen altogether. Because her family actively acted as an impenetrable fortress during her most critical formative years, she never became another tragic, burned-out casualty of the relentless Hollywood machine. The highly inspiring story of the family is the ultimate, proven blueprint for surviving the famously dark side of the modern entertainment industry. They definitively proved that with an unbreakable, highly protective support system, a young artist can actually walk straight through the terrifying fire of global fame and come out completely intact on the other side. Courtney isn't just a vocal powerhouse today. She is the living, breathing result of parents who loved their daughter infinitely more than the hollow promise of celebrity. It leaves us to look at the countless other child stars who tragically lost their way, forcing us to ask, how many broken artists could have been saved if they just had someone brave enough to stand in front of them?